Hello everyone, welcome back to Task Management Full Stack Project using React.js and Spring Boot with Microservice architecture. Guys, since now we have completed our user service, task service and submission service. Now it's time to build server for our application. So in today's video, we are gonna build Eureka Server or we are gonna implement Eureka Server for our application. So now without wasting any time, let's get started. So let's go to Spring Initializer and first create a project, a Spring Boot project. So let me choose here Maven, tab will be 3.2.2, then com.jos, my package name, then artifact ID, let me give here Eureka Server, and name will be also Eureka Server. Description, let me write here Eureka Server for Task Management Project, and package, let me give here only com.jos, and packaging will be jar and Java version will be 7.10. Now let's add some dependencies. So guys, first dependency we need is Eureka Server. So let's search for Eureka Server. Eureka Server, you can say that we are gonna use that Eureka Server Spring Cloud Discovery. And is there any, let's use Spring Actuator as well. I don't know we are gonna use or not, so Actuator, Spring Boot Actuator. Okay, and yeah, I guess these two are enough for our server. So now let's generate our project. Let's click on the generate, and it's taking time. Let me go to here, YouTube, then projects, microservice, task management, and Eureka Server. Okay, so let's save it. Now let's go to directory. Oh, why it's not still done? How much time you will take? Okay, it's done. And let's unzip it first. So extract all. After extracting, and let me go inside it. Here you can see our project. Let me cut it down from here and paste it here. And now we don't need this, so what I'm gonna do is I will delete it. Also, I don't need this Eureka Server, so let me delete it as well. Now let's open this Microservices. Let's open this with IntelliJ IDEA in new window, and here it is. Let me close it down. Let me close all the project first, and here you can see we have a Eureka Server. Now let me select Eureka. Here you can see we don't have Eureka Server. So what I'm gonna do, I will go to this Maven and add this project from here, Task Management and Eureka Server. Okay, then let me close this. Oh, it will take some time. Why it's behave like this? Okay, it's loading, and I guess it's loaded now. So let me close this. Let's go to here, choose our Eureka Server application and start. Of course it will give us error. First let me close all this tab because we don't need now. And this failed to bind Eureka Auto Service registry. Okay, now we need to provide the configuration to the server. So let's open our src folder, not test, go to main. First let's go to here and enable Eureka server. So here I will write enable Eureka server. That's it. Now we need to write configuration in our application.properties file. I will first refactor it and rename its type from properties to YAML. That's it. Now let me give here a port. So server.port, you can see our Eureka server will be run on 8070. Then Eureka.instance host name. Host name will be localhost. Okay. Then client dot register with Eureka. Register with Eureka, we need to give here false, because we don't need to register this service, this server with itself. Okay, we are gonna only register our user service, task service and submission service with this server. So that's why we need to give here false. Now fetch registry also I will give here false, and let me give here service URL. Default zone, not this URL like this, and let me give here default zone. And here I need to provide the URL. So http:// then $sign, inside this Eureka instance dot host name. Eureka instance dot host name will be localhost, and the here server.port we need to give, and Eureka. So guys, now let me make you understand this. Eureka.instance.host name, so it will take this host, whatever we have given host name here, it will take this automatically. If our application is running on localhost, then it will take localhost, but if we have deployed our application, then it will take here that deployed URL. Okay, and here it will take the port. So whatever port we have defined here, it will take that port. All right, now that's it for our Eureka server. Now let's run it. And it has given one error: web server failed to start, port 8070 was already in use. Of course my previous application is running, because you can see that here my application is running. So I need to stop this application. So let's go to here and stop all this. Now let's run it again. And there you go, our application is running successfully. Now let's let me close this once. and local host 8070. Our Eureka server is running on 8070, so let's access it. Currently you can see we don't have any services registered with this here in application. Okay, no instance available here, you can see. Now let's provide the instance, or let's register our user service, task service and submission service with this server, because now our server is ready. So let's go to first user service. Inside pom.xml, if you remember, I have commented this dependency and told you that we'll comment it out once we implement our server, Eureka server. So now it's time to comment it out. Okay, and give me just 1 second. Okay, after comment it out, what we need to do is we need to write the configuration that this server you need to go and register yourself. So let's provide that configuration to our user service. Let's open our application.yaml file, and here Eureka, but first let me reload this Maven changes so that, yeah, now let's go to YAML file, eureka.instance dot prefer host name, prefer IP address actually. Let's give it true. Then client dot fetch registry. Here we need to give fetch registry true because we need to register this user service. Okay, in the Eureka server, if you as you can see, we have given fetch register with Eureka, we have given false because we don't need to register this server with itself. We need to register only user service, task service and submission service. So in that configuration we'll give it true. So first register service, now let's give it register with Eureka, register with Eureka true. Okay, and service URL we need to provide here default zone, and let me give it like this. So here we need to provide our Eureka service URL. Like in this URL, our Eureka server is running. So, and last endpoint we need to give Eureka. That's it. Why it's providing default zone. Okay, here we need to make one space. All right, now let's go to task service, or what we are gonna do is first let's refresh this. Okay, then I will show you. Let's start our task user service application. Let's check our user service is registered or not. Let's go to it. Okay, wait. Still it's giving us error. Eureka instance prefer IP address true, client fetch register true, register with Eureka we have given true, default zone also we have given this 8070. Okay, I have made a mistake here. Now let's run it again. Alright guys, this time we haven't get any error. So now let's go to here and refresh it. See, okay, still we don't have any instance. So what I'm gonna do is let me go to here Maven and reload our projects, all the projects. Let me close this. Eureka Server and our server. Let's go to here and let's refresh. Why it's, let's rerun it again. HTTP colon then local host here 8070 and Eureka. Okay, I have made mistake here as well. Here I need to provide this Eureka. Now let's rerun it once again. Actually not this, but our user service. I hope this time it will work fine. Let's go to here and let's refresh, and there you go guys. See here we have one instance for user service, and if I can click here and let me write here user, or maybe directly. Okay, I guess it's not have any endpoint with this user, so no worries. Okay, now our user service is ready. All right, so what we are gonna do is let's register all our services with this server, like task service and submission service as well. Let me minimize it, copy this thing. Let's go to our task service. First let's go to pom.xml and comment it out our dependency and reload it. Then let's go to src main resources application dot, actually not this, our task service. Yeah, let's go to src main, then application.yaml file, and let's provide that configuration here. Okay, and this same configuration we need to provide a submission service as well. So task submission, let's go to there, service main and application.yaml file. Let's provide it as well. And now it's time to run our this both service, task submission and this task submission. Okay, let's run it. Also in task submission we haven't comment out our dependencies, so let's do this first and let's reload it. Okay, now let's go to here and refresh. You can see we have task service, user service, but we don't have a submission service. What I'm gonna do, I will rerun it again and let's refresh, and there you go. You can see now we have submission service, task service and user service registered with our server. All right, so yeah guys, that's it for Eureka server. And now in next video what we are gonna do is we are gonna implement gateway for our project or our microservices, so that only one common endpoint user can access our APIs. Okay, or maybe client can access our API with only single or common endpoint. Cause currently you can see here we have 3 endpoints. One for user service we have one port, I mean 5001. Then task, for the task service we have 5002, and for the submission service we have 5003. But when we implement our gateway server, that time we are going we will able to access all these three services with only one endpoint, and that is nothing but 5000. We'll give there 5000 port. Okay. So yeah guys, let's meet in the next video then.